The reality is our skin is exposed, our hands are exposed, our face is exposed to all the elements. When we abuse it, don't respect it, take advantage of it, it's going to like show up and give you kind of the middle finger at one point and say, hey, you did all this to me, and now look at how I look. And that's when people start to panic.
This is Skin Talks, the podcast where we go deeper than skin, products, and trends and explore the conversations that actually matter in health, beauty, wellness, and confidence.
We're a mother-daughter duo and the founders of Boutique Skin Envie. After years inside the industry, we've learned that health is never just about what you use. It's about everything you digest, how you think, how you live, what you eat, how you move, what you put on your skin, and how you feel in your own body.
If you're looking for insight, honesty, and a fresh perspective on the future of health, beauty, and wellness, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it.
Skin Talks podcast by Boutique Skin Envie, hosted by Beate and Natascha.
Welcome to today's solo episode, which really is going to be taking a different route. We're going to be doing FAQ. So basically what we did is we piled together like a bunch of questions that we found were frequently asked on our Instagram, through our chat, and like support, our customer support, and also through virtual consultations that are done at BSC all the time. And we really wanted to kind of hone in on questions that were like the most basic.
Popular.
But yes, the popular, but the most basic and like beginner level entry questions. So like not diving into too much of the skincare, but like just skincare in general, which I think is kind of fun.
No, it's super fun.
So let's get started right away because we have about 10 questions and I know that we like to chat. The first one, is it necessarily expensive to have a healthy skincare routine?
No, it's not necessarily expensive in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it really just depends on what your concerns are, what your budget is. And I mean, there's many professional grade and medical grade brands that are available on the market at all different price points. So if you're really new into skincare and you've never really done anything for your skin, you could go in with something like what we would call the essentials. Like this is your beginning point, and brands like Galderma's Cetaphil or Bioderma
or GM Collin.
They're the beginning products that are just going to basically take care of skin health. And that usually always consists of 4 products in our opinion. So you always need to think about having a good cleanser, a treatment product, essentially
a vitamin C.
Ideally a vitamin C, because it's a great introductory serum. And there are serums for all skin types. A good moisturizer, that's your 3-step in the evening. And then in the morning, you would just add an SPF. Yeah. So you can start a skincare routine with like, let's say, Clear Start by Dermalogica if you're very, very new. And you can get 4 products for under $150, I think.
For sure.
That's very comparable to what you would spend if you went to any kind of department store or even in pharmacies and stuff like that. So, and then you can go all the way up to spending $750 on an eye cream if that's what you want to do. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's better for you than something that's more basic. You know what I mean? It really just depends on your goals, your budget, and what your concerns are. Now, if you have something like serious hyperpigmentation or melasma, well, that might cost you a little bit more because you'll need to have really specialty products, whether they be hydroquinone or non-hydroquinone.
Same with acne too, right?
And like acne too, like any kind of serious hump that you're trying to get over with your skin to bring it back into homeostasis and optimal health. You're trying to target something that is like skin, in a way, a skin disease in a way. It can get a little bit higher in price point
because you're looking
but it's
for
temporary,
more specific products that are of higher quality, so you actually get the results.
Yeah. So when you get into clinical products, or like, then you're going to spend a little bit more, especially if you're targeting something that is very specific. But that's not forever. You know, if you get into a good routine and you tackle those issues that you have, you can put them at bay, and then you can go back to something more basic. It doesn't need to be expensive. The most important point for me is not the price, it's the prescription, which is not a prescription, but like the consultation.
Yes, but I feel like if you get a good base routine and
Skin hygiene.
Yeah. Like good skin hygiene. You get the 4-step routine. Like you're going to have a healthier barrier.
Yeah.
A healthier barrier. Yeah, that's what it's called. Sorry. A healthier barrier, which in turn will potentially minimize some of the
secondary effects
that you have, that you're experiencing. Like, let's say, for example, you really have, like for me, like my concern is melasma. If I have super inflamed skin, my melasma is going to come out more. So like really getting my barrier at a healthy point,
minimizing inflammation in
minimizing
the body.
my inflammation, then that's going to help with my melasma, like bursts. Yeah. So then, like you just kind of want to really start with the basics, which is inexpensive and can be very inexpensive. It all can be very, very expensive. And then you can assess what you need to do next, which is what, like if you need to get specialty products. But ultimately, yes, no, it's not necessarily expensive.
It's not. And I mean, no, it's not. It doesn't need to be.
But
I think there's a big misconception in the market that, oh, you get into professional skincare, you get into medical grade skincare. Oh, I can't afford it. It's not true. There's stuff out there like Biophora. You can get a routine for really like problematic skin like acne, which is challenging. And a lot of people, I think there's something like 70% of the population in Canada struggles at one point of their life or another with acne. You can get a full routine for 3 to 6 months out of every product for under $300.
Yeah, and I used Biophora. I used the Element
Saved your
Exposed.
skin, you said,
yeah,
right?
because I had a lot of inflammation, a lot of like congestion. My skin was very, very bad at one point. And I used the Biophora Element Exposed kit, which was under $300. And it saved my skin. And I was able to then move forward and then go for, let's say,
you restabilize.
Yeah, exactly.
You're restabilizing and bringing things back into homeostasis. I think one of the biggest problems that we see in today's world is that people are overdoing skincare, which leads to chronic issues. And then you end up spending more than you have to. If you just get into your life as a young person with a basic routine, you're going to mitigate a lot of the problems that can happen down the road. And it's just by forming healthy skin habits and always cleansing and always having an SPF.
Yes. Which leads us into the other question. Is it better to have a routine with not the best products or have no routine at all?
I mean, that's a humongous question.
I think that's dependent
like
on the
a routine
person.
with not the best products could be somebody that's using 7 different acids on their skin and, you know, on TikTok showing that they have perfect glass skin, what everybody aims to have and wishes to have. But that's not real.
Yeah. And I also
You
think
know what
that
I mean? So those are wrong products for your skin. So you're better off having no routine than doing that.
let's say for somebody who has really good skin and has no concerns at all, if they're using a routine that's not the best products, it doesn't really matter so much.
Because they're gifted, right? They're lucky. They have, like, I think probably 95% of people are not in that particular situation. So
especially at younger ages, eventually that it'll catch up to them.
If you're 20 and you've got beautiful skin, which most 20-year-olds have, do you need to go on like a very strict, no.
Yeah.
You know,
but if you have like acne and using like the worst products ever and you don't have
you're better off not using them.
You might as well just not use anything at that point, which don't love to say that, but
well, it's a big question,
you can
right?
just
it's always specific to
you can make your skin worse. You can bring up other problems in your skin. Let's say if you have acne, then you're using bad products that are not good for your skin. Like you could create worse acne, bigger flare-ups, and then you could potentially have like really bad inflammation, or maybe you're going to have melasma as well. Like there's certain things that could.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the things that we experience with our skin in general, and that's, you know, very in parenthesis general, because some people, like acne happens in your teen years and sometimes it happens as an adult as well. But most of the issues that we face with our skin, most of them are in a way self-inflicted. And I'm cautious when I say that because I don't want people to think that you are causing your own problems. But it's lifestyle, it's hygiene, it's food intake, it's water consumption, it's the products that you're using, it's, you know, the elements. And, you know, let's say, for example, you know, we live in Canada, it's the middle of winter. If you don't put anything on your skin and then you're somebody who likes to go out and go for walks every single day for an hour outside at -10 to -20 degrees, and you have nothing on your skin to protect your skin, what I guarantee you're going to have like very red, irritated, dry, problematic skin. That's self-inflicted. Even if you were to put on like an occlusive barrier, like a Vaseline on before you go out, you're going to be helping yourself. So that's why I mean, like, we cause a lot of our own problems by underdoing it or overdoing it, and not having a good, healthy habits in our lifestyle as general. Even if you're somebody who doesn't sleep enough and you're like, I don't need to sleep a lot. I just going to do 4 hours a night is enough for me. I have chronic stress in my life because I have a very important job or a very demanding job. No, I don't eat until about 5 o'clock at night. I eat nothing all day long. I don't drink a lot of water. I drink coffee all day. That's self-inflicted when you run into skin problems because your lifestyle is not conducive to healthy skin.
Yeah.
So I think it's, we could go around in that conversation for a long time, but everything is very unique and personalized to the person. I think having the right routine with expert advice is more important than using no products or the wrong products.
So that being said, what are the consequences of not having a skincare routine at all?
Well, I mean, some people, I've met people and I see people on virtual consultations.
Like a lot of men have no skincare routine.
No, they have no skincare routine at all. And they don't use anything on their skin and they look great.
I know.
Right?
I'm like, what's happening?
And there's women like that as well. I have people coming into the Medi-Spa and saying, my mother used Dove soap on her face growing up, and I've done the same thing, and look at me. And you know what? Yeah, they're gifted. They have great, great genes. The reality is that it is not the average person that has that, right?
Yeah.
So if you do nothing on your skin for most of your life, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to look at your skin and say, oh my God, like I'm looking tired, or I'm feeling that my skin is dull, or I all of a sudden notice like bags under my eyes, or my skin texture has changed, or I have acne, or I have, oh my God, so many spots all over my face. Like, it's like you wake up one day and go, holy smokes, what happened?
Yeah.
Because you weren't paying attention along the way and you were taking your skin for granted. Like, we do have to remember that the skin's the largest organ. And we take it for granted when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're looking like absolutely snatched and perfect. But the reality is when our skin is exposed, our hands are exposed, our face is exposed to all the elements, UV rays, all that kind of stuff. When we abuse it, don't respect it, take advantage of it, it shows, it's going to like show up and give you kind of the middle finger at one point and say, hey, you did all this to me, and now look at how I look. And that's when people start to panic, But it's I think building a healthy, solid routine, which doesn't need to be complicated, can be quite basic: cleanser, treatment serum, moisturizer, and an SPF. If you do at least that, you're headed in the right direction. And ideally with products that are consulted for your skin type and your concerns. That's the best baseline that I could of advice that I could give you.
And then so our next question is, how long does it take to see results after starting a new routine? I think that it's also like you just mentioned that you kind of just wake up and you see all of these things on your skin and you're like, oh my God, when somebody's starting a new routine, they wake up, they see all these spots on their face. They're just confused. They're like, how did I get here? They go on a good routine. They expect to see results pretty quickly, but you have to remember that you did years of damage. So like it's hard. People get impatient, right? Like they start a new routine and they want to see results in 15 to 20 days or whatever it is, even a month. But you have to remember that you did years and years and years of damage. It's going to take time for you to see the results that you want to see. So yes, of course, your skin's going to be like brighter and you're going to have a nice glow, and all these like superficial results might come in. Well,
just by putting a good products on your skin,
you'll see results.
You're just going to feel better.
But you're not like the results you expect to see. Like, it does take time because like you did take years of negligence.
So let's say, for example, you have somebody that comes in like a teenager with acne. And sometimes acne needs to be treated in multiple dimensions. Like, first of all, diet, lifestyle is very important. Product is very important. Oftentimes treatment's very important. Sometimes medication is required. But if you're just talking acne alone, serious cases of acne, I would say that it can take you 8 months and more for your skin to completely transform itself under guidance and supervision really from a professional.
That
If you
includes
have
also like
melasma,
treatments.
yes, it can help to accelerate it. But 8 months is usually, because the skin cycle has 28 to 32 days on average, right?
Yeah.
So just that's for your skin to have a full rotation is a month. And so you're working all this stuff out. You're kind of retraining your skin and you're bringing equilibrium to the skin. If you're somebody who has pigment, like pigment that is really sun damage, again, it can take a year for your skin to completely transform. Because don't forget, if you go on an aggressive hydroquinone treatment, let's say somebody who has got melasma, you do a hydroquinone, because we really caution any kind of treatment for melasma with heat. So if you've got melasma, you'll do a hydroquinone system. And in generally speaking, hydroquinone is used consecutively for 4 months. And then you have to teeter off and you move into a different program. So just 4 months to be able to bring the pigment out to the surface and then reduce it is a 4-month process. And then you have to do other things, because sometimes when you have pigment, you'll have redness. So you're treating different angles of the skin at different levels, and you have to do one thing before the other. Like you can't just do it all at the same time. So it can really take, you have to be very patient. Like you said, it took you this long to get here. You have to give the skin that long to recover and to correct itself and to become its the most optimum state that it can be. It's not an overnight quick fix. And oftentimes we see people coming in and they're like, oh my God, look at me, I need Botox and filler. And I'm not knocking that in any way, because I think that's a great compliment to help to refresh the appearance of the skin. But those things do not bring the skin into optimum health. So if you're just doing those things without doing all of the other things, you're really not doing anything. You're just like appeasing topically, appearance-wise, temporarily.
Yeah. And also, like, I have melasma, and I can definitely say that it's taken multiple routines, like
and
multiple
time.
treatments and time to really get to where I was pre-pregnancy.
Yeah. Well, your skin's been fabulous during your pregnancy, though.
Yeah, but my melasma came stronger through my pregnancy.
Right, but not like crazy.
Not like worse than it did, let's say, two summers ago.
No, because you've been managing with Even from Skin Better Science all along the way, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you have to stay patient, consistent. You really it's a full-time job.
Well, you have to be committed, right? It's like if you want to get in shape, you can't work out in the gym once in a while. You have to commit yourself to something, sign up for it, and then do it. And that's where you see change. And, oftentimes when people get into routines, and we see this often, actually, we put people on these beautiful skincare routines. They're like, oh my God, my skin's so great. 3, 4, 5 months later they're going, oh, I've noticed this now. So now I need to do this, because those challenges that they were facing clear up, and then other things are presenting themselves that they didn't notice before because something was overriding the other. And then so you switch up and you move around in your routine to be able to adapt to where the person is at that time. Let's talk about barrier repair, because if your skin is angry, reactive, or constantly breaking out, your barrier is likely screaming for help. A damaged barrier shows up as redness, tightness, sensitivity, or products that suddenly stop working. Alliston's Restorative Skin Complex is the product we reach for when skin needs a true reset. It uses patented Trihex technology to clear out old damaged collagen and help the skin rebuild stronger, healthier from the inside out. This isn't just about soothing, it's restorative. If your skin just isn't behaving, this is where we start. Use Skin Talks 15 at beskinenvie.ca. That is beskinenvie.ca for 15% off your first order.
This question's interesting. I think that all of our episodes and whatever we talk about all the time definitely answers it properly. But I think that this question gets asked a lot because what we see is that everybody wants to use the same routine of a person that they idolize, different trends and stuff like that. So is skincare a one size fits all, or is it customizable different per person? Obviously, the answer was obviously it's customizable, right? It's not a one size fits all.
It's not a one size fits all.
But we see in virtual consultations that so many people are using routines similar to people on TikTok and this and that. And I think that that's where that comes from.
I think that people are looking for that magical wand
Yeah.
of like, you know, if I could change my skin, like I'm going to use these
Or
products.
if I can
it's
look
going to
like
be,
this person.
yeah, you know, chasing a dream kind of thing, chasing something. The reality is I really caution that.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, your skin, you are unique and you need to treat your skin for you, not for what your best friend is doing or somebody that you idolize or, you know, who you admire, which,
Yeah.
you know, we all have that.
Of course.
Can you go back and ask the question again,
Is
Tash?
it customizable or one size fits all?
It's not, okay. So it's not a one size fits all. And everything is adapted to you. The most important thing really for me is really to get expert advice.
Yeah.
You know, as to go and have a conversation with somebody who studied skin and say, you know, this is my, you know, first of all, there's a whole slew of questions that should be asked in a consultation like that. But these are my concerns. This is my budget. And this is what I'm hoping to achieve, you know, and get that information out. And based on that is where you start to build. And that's not copying what somebody else is doing. Because chances are, like even some cases of acne, you know, a routine will be built for somebody that's got acne. Well, that may not be at all what a medical professional or an esthetician is going to recommend for you, because the kind of acne that you have and your skin type is different than your best friend's. So you have to adjust. And you have to have the conversation and you have to be followed. Ideally, you have to be followed.
But so how often should someone get advice from an esthetician or a professional?
So I think that, first of all, if you're new to skincare and you're getting it for the first time, and that doesn't mean that you're a teenager, it could mean that you're 60 years old. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, at any time.
It could be at any time in your life. So the best thing, in my opinion, is to source out in the area that you live, a reputable spa or dermatologist office or medical spa, and go and talk to an expert. I mean, most places today offer free advice. Like you can go in for your first consultation for 30 minutes and have a conversation. That person should ideally give you a plan, and then you decide whether you want to follow that plan or not. That's the baseline. And then as you move through the journey of your skincare routine, consult with a professional as often as you need to. So if you start off and you have acne and you clear the acne, a lot of the time post-acne, you get what's called PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So you're left with redness and sometimes dark spots. That's a different program than an acne program. So when you get through that phase of acne and you ideally can clear it up, then you will perhaps need to go on to something else that's going to deal with the scars that are left over. You know, so it's always as often as you need, and don't be shy to go get advice. That's what people are there for. That's what they want to do. They want to help you with your skin, you know. And if you don't want to do that, or you don't have a place that you feel that you can trust, with our company, with Boutique Skin Envie, we do virtual consultations literally every day, all day, all week long.
Yeah.
And people book appointments with us, and we have full-blown conversations, anywhere from 15 minutes, depending on the person, all the way to 45 minutes. And we ask a lot of questions, and we build routines for people, and then we follow it. So if you want to have that expertise, that's another option as well. Is really, there's a cost involved depending on the kind of appointment that you take, but it's reimbursed with the purchase of products. Like if you do decide that you're going to end up buying the products within the routine, let's say, for example, the beginning consult is $25, very affordable. It's $25. If you buy from Boutique Skin Envie, I think it's $175. You can apply the $25 code and you get it back. So it really didn't cost you anything, but you took the time to speak to an expert who really listened to you and then built you something that is customized to you.
Yeah. That being said, what kind of questions should be asked in a consult? Like, what are the most important questions that should be asked?
Oh, well, there's so many questions that you're going to ask somebody, but basically when you book a consultation with us, before you even can buy the consultation, you have to answer like, I think 20 questions.
Yeah.
So that's your skin type. And sometimes people don't really know what their skin type is. So we give some guidelines, like, if you have a combination skin type, You'll have an oily T-zone, for example. If you have an oily skin type, it's like oiliness on your cheeks. So we kind of guide you. And then, what are your top 3 concerns? So I always ask people, because a lot of times people don't know what that is. I always ask people, if I was like your fairy godmother and I granted you 3 wishes with your skin that you could change, what would it be in order of most importance? And then people start to talk. If they don't know what that is, I'll tell them to take a mirror and look in the mirror. Now look at your skin in the mirror and tell me what areas of your face that you want to work on. And sometimes people have nothing, but sometimes most people do, right? So it's really identifying what's the concern of the client, what's their skin type, also what's their skin color. Like there's 6 different Fitzpatricks, from very, very fair to very, very dark skin. And how you treat very fair skin is very different than how you would treat somebody with a darker skin. So understanding that, if they're taking any kind of medications, if they suffer from, let's say, acne, what's their diet? Do they have a lot of dairy in their diet? How much water do they drink? I mean, we ask probably 20 minutes average of questions before we even, and what their commitment level is. Like, how are, on a scale from 1 to 10, how committed are you to doing a 4-step routine in the morning and a 3-step routine at night? Are you 50-50?
So ultimately, it's a very in-depth conversation. You're gathering a lot of information to ultimately give them a routine that's best suited for their lifestyle budget and, of course, skin routine and concerns.
Like if a new mother, for example, is, they're like, listen, I have a hard enough time jumping in the shower in the morning, as you know, Tash. I don't want to have a 10-step routine. I want to have like 3 steps. I want to have a product. I want to wash my face. I want to put a moisturizer on, and I want an SPF, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And like, I actually do have a very small routine right now, which is wild. Like I have cleanser, the even moisturizer, and an SPF. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Like that's,
because
I've
that
never
fits
had
your
a
routine right now.
I've never had a routine so
but
small.
That product that you're using, that one product that you're using, even, is targeting pigment.
That's what I need.
So that's what you need, right?
Yeah.
That's your priority, right? So yeah, just listening to the person, asking a lot of questions, like little things like when somebody has acne or somebody has irritation on their skin or redness, I'll even go into what kind of shampoo and conditioner are you using? When do you wash your face in the shower?
Or like even your pillowcase. Are you washing your pillowcase often?
How much dairy do you have in your diet? How much processed food do you have in your diet? Sugar, like unrefined sugars, right? Sometimes you'll even find people that are, eating a ton of dairy, and they've got acne. And I'm like, okay, well, let's take away the dairy for the next 30 to 60 days, combined with this, and this.
Yeah. And
then you see where you're at. So when you go in and you're buying products and somebody comes to you and is just like, oh, I'm looking for a skincare routine, and just says, oh, okay. And they take you to an aisle or they take you to an area of the store and they just say, you need this, and this. Like, be very wary of that, because they haven't even asked you a question. You need to have a conversation with somebody to really understand what's going on with them. Sometimes I'll talk to people and I'll be like, okay, talk to me about your stress levels in your life. Mm-hmm. What do you do for work? And then, people will start to cry. I'm super stressed. I can't sleep at night. And then you find out a whole bunch of things about that. And you can make even recommendations on meditation practices. Like, we go really in depth of things to help people manage their life, and then complement it with product, complement it with a routine.
Yeah.
But lots of questions. And if you don't get asked a lot of questions, I would question that and be a little bit nervous.
I completely agree. Now, one of my favorite questions is, how is it true that a product only works when you feel it burning?
Absolutely not. You shouldn't feel a product burning on your skin.
Tingling is acceptable.
Especially like if you've never used a vitamin C before, if you've never used glycolic acid or any kind of like salicylic AHA or BHA on your skin before, and you get into an acne routine, for example, with Zeo Skin Health, and you're using the acne treatment pads in your routine, definitely you're going to feel a tingle. And that's normal, but it should never burn. It should never be uncomfortable. It should never make your skin flare and be red.
Feel hot. Mm-mm. I've had that once where my skin flared and I was like, oof, this is interesting.
That's usually a reaction when you get that like flush.
Yeah, it was flush and it was hot.
That's usually a reaction, or something in the product doesn't, your body
Don't
doesn't
vibe with it.
Yeah, it happens to us sometimes, and it can happen. Doesn't mean the product's bad. It could also mean that, like, if something's burning your skin that shouldn't be burning your skin, like a moisturizer,
Yeah.
it could be because your skin barrier is so compromised and it's in such bad condition that anything that you put on your skin, even olive oil or even like coconut oil, would burn it. And there are cases like that. We see it often with people with, like, remember we had the patient, Tash, that came to see us, and she had extreme dermatitis on her face, like pimples underneath her eyes, but it was because she was on Accutane and didn't have a proper routine. Well, I put Egyptian magic on her and it was uncomfortable. With that, I was like, okay, so we really need to calm your skin down, and then we can rebuild. Today, she's completely cleared, but it took 3-4 months to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the condition of the skin also. If somebody has overdone retinol and they have retinol burn, no matter what you put on their skin, it's gonna hurt. So you really have to understand where it's coming from. But painful skincare, you shouldn't have it.
Yeah, no,
in general
I completely
sense.
agree. Completely. Do I need a moisturizer if I have oily skin?
Yes. You
Lotion. Just get a lotion.
Yeah, there's specific moisturizers for oily skin that will have mattifying effects to it or help to control the sebum. That's where serums come into big play, is that sometimes, like I always say, you've got your cleanser, which is to clean your skin. You've got your treatment serum. The treatment serum is like a booster in an area of concern. So for example, if you've got very, very oily skin, oftentimes it'll cause breakouts or it's just like uncomfortable. You will want to go on, let's say, a vitamin C serum that will be specific for oily skin. Like, for example, Silymarin from SkinCeuticals is excellent. And then your moisturizer on top. So you would normally put a moisturizer on your skin if you're oily that has a more water base and that is less lipidic and not rich. And the other thing that's really important when you get into oily skin, it's like, have you ever seen somebody who bites their cuticles? They usually have a lot of cuticle.
Yes.
Because your body has a natural defense mechanism.
To reproduce.
To do excess to protect itself.
Yeah.
So if you're using a cleanser on your skin that's oily or acne, that's very, very acidic to the body, doesn't have a good pH, doesn't respect the pH of the...
You're going to produce more too.
You're going to cause more oil production. So what you really want to do is use products that are for oily skin that help to calm the skin and reduce the sebum production. Don't stimulate it. Don't strip it. That's dangerous because you'll end up with more problems than what you started with.
If I start Botox now, do I have to use it do I have to do it forever?
Well, no, you don't have to do anything forever.
But like, is Botox, I think the question is Botox something that you can do like a couple times and then you're kind of like, you're okay after?
I think that people misunderstand sometimes Botox. Botox is not filler, right? Botox, what it does is it's a neuromodulator, and what it basically does is it softens, doesn't paralyze, it softens the muscles. It prevents the constriction of the muscles. There's more a medical term.
Depends how much Botox you inject. Sometimes
right, but ideally
paralyzed.
You still need some movement, right?
Ideally, yes.
So what it is you do Botox. Generally speaking, a Botox injection will last you between 3 and 4 months. And it always depends on, I don't know if this is actually scientifically proven, but like some people will need it faster because they have very strong facial muscles, like usually the 11 lines.
Yeah, like me.
Or they have a faster metabolism, so the body like goes through it faster. So if you start Botox and you do it once and then you don't do it for a year, it's going to be worn off within the first 2 to 4 months. So ideally, you should be, if you're invested and committed to doing Botox, you should do it every 3 to 4 months, probably on average, to keep it up, because once you stop, it goes away.
I do mine every 6 months. Granted, I haven't done it for a year and a half.
But you're also 31. Like, you're not...
Yeah.
You know, if you're in my age group, mid-50s...
But I noticed that my 11 lines are strong, and I noticed that I have the tiniest lines here because I have a very expressive forehead. But I noticed, like, when I'm driving in my rear view mirror...
You never look in your rear view mirror. It's the worst thing ever.
I look in there when I'm just, in the car, and then I am like, oh my God, look at all these like tiny little wrinkles I have like across my forehead, but whatever, it's fine. I have a baby, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yes,
So Botox is something, if you're going to get into it, don't just do it once as an experiment, unless you just want to try it and see what it's like, and because you don't know if you like it or not. But it's something that you should probably continue. But you do have to be careful, because how much Botox you put in, how often you put it in, is going to have an effect on your muscles. And, if you're a more mature face and you do too much Botox, you freeze too much, oftentimes you get a heavy brow.
also,
So-
I remember there was this time where I had gotten Botox and then I was leaving to go on vacation, and my Botox appointment was like a month before I should have gotten it done, or like it was like something around the time, and my esthetician, or my nurse injector, sorry, was like, I'll do it this one time, but don't do it too close.
Yeah.
Because then your body will not recognize it the same way and you won't react to Botox. You'll become immune to it, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, really? Eh?
She's like, yes, but that's like obviously consecutively. Let's say, for example, the standard is like no less than 3 months should be your every appointment.
Yeah.
But if you're doing consecutively every 2 months, it's possible that your body will become immune to the Botox and it will no longer work.
The same way.
Work the same way.
Like less
So I was like,
effective.
oh, that's good to know, but like inject me anyways because I'm leaving on vacation. But yeah, it's definitely, that's also something to look for. Like that goes for anything. Don't overdo it.
Don't
because
overdo it. And
it's just like you can become immune to it.
And I think Botox, we should see Botox and filler, or tox and filler, as something to complement
Yeah.
a routine, not as a replacement for a routine.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the last question that we have for today is, how often should I actually get a facial?
Well, I love facials because I see facials kind of like deep cleansing, which for me has an effect on inflammation. It has an effect on aging, generally speaking, just by the nature of deep cleansing. I think, honestly,
yeah.
if ideally
Yeah.
4 times a year, every season
Every
change.
season change, yeah.
Yeah, ideally 4 times a year. And it doesn't need to be a crazy expensive facial.
No.
But
Just like good hydration, exfoliation.
Yeah, exfoliation. But you have to remember, when you go to an esthetician and they're doing a facial on you, the products that they're using in the facial are not the same products that you use at home.
No. There's higher concentration of ingredients. There's more active ingredients, different ingredients. Like
100%.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
And they'll use sometimes they'll do some extractions. It's 4 times a year is my answer, if you can do it. But at least twice a year. It's kind of like going to the dentist. We talk about it all the time.
Or at least like if you really are like, it's hard, at least at the end of the summer and at the end of the winter, if you're from Canada, because at the end of the summer, you really want to fluff off your summer skin that you did, that you could have like potentially caused some damage, preparing your skin for the colder months. And then after the colder months, like really hydrate your skin because it's just been like destroyed by the freezing cold, and then prepare for the summer to come. So like minimum 2 a year,
and
ideally 4. And if you really want to, if you're trying to like fix a concern, whatever it is, like, then you're probably doing 4 to 6.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, you're dealing with acne.
Yeah.
You want to do 4 facials, but you might do some peels, some salicylic acid peels in between. You might do some lasers.
I've multiple times I've done, for my melasma, I did a microneedling cure with peels. So it was like every 4 weeks I was doing microneedling, and in between every 2 weeks I was doing a peel.
Yep.
And that's right there. That's 6 treatments within the span of 3
resurfacing
months.
Everything. You're resurfacing and breaking everything up. And
so that was like a heavy cure, but that's 3 months, 6 treatments.
That's
so
when
like,
you're going when you need a package.
Yeah.
When you need to target something and you're committed to really like change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
ideal.
pretty much, it really depends, but 2, ideally 4.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good baseline, I would say.
Yeah. And that's basically it. Those are all of our questions. I actually like those questions a lot.
Yeah, they were good questions. And so what I would say also is, if you're listening and you're curious and you have more questions, the best thing to do would be so that we can address it, because we do these solo episodes. We love doing these solo episodes, is to follow us on Instagram on Skin Talks and just send us a DM.
Yeah.
And
Skin Talks Podcast.
Skin Talks Podcast, and we will help to bring that into a next episode.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for listening to Skin Talks.
If this episode inspired you, taught you something new, or just made you feel seen, please share with someone you love. And if you believe in thoughtful and empowering conversations that help you make better choices for yourself around your beauty and wellness, please rate and review the show. It helps us to grow our community, and we deeply appreciate it. Because this isn't just about skin.
It's about claiming your beauty, feeling strong, informed, and at home in yourself.
See you next week.